Hi, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is all around discomfort tolerance. And I think this is just such a key topic in relation to really wanting to go to your next level. And something that I am currently offering is a workshop. And for right now only, it is $9.99. I think I'm going to up the price to $59 here in a little bit. So absolutely snag it early while you can. But I'm doing a workshop on how to really up level, because the thing that I see time and time again is that people feel really confident, but then they keep wavering and that sabotages them. I'll see people where they just end up settling at a level because they're not quite sure they can get to the next level. Or people will think that it's just going to be so hard, and create this reality in which they end up staying at their current level, their current identity, their current income level, fitness level, relationship status, whatever it is, for far longer than is actually needed. And it's not because they're not capable. It's not because they're not disciplined or working hard enough. It typically comes down to one of two things. Number one is that they don't actually see themselves as the kind of person who can get it. And we're going to be talking all about that on the workshop. Or the second reason is that they are lacking the current ability and skill to manage the fluctuating, difficult emotions that come up in pursuing that next level. And what happens is that when our nervous system doesn't feel safe, it will jut us right back to the level that we were at, the level that we've been at, even though if we really want to go further. So let's talk today a little bit more about that body, the physiological process, the nervous system. And what really brought about me recording this podcast episode was I put up a story the other day, and I was just in a bit of a grumpy mood the other day. Nothing crazy, but I just felt like in a bit of a rut and I wanted to get out of it. And one of the things that I did was I decided that I was going to go for a run. And if you know anything about me, you know that I don't run. I hate running. I am very strong in my identity as a non-runner. And running just it does not bring out good things in me. Like when I have to go run, I whine, I complain, I want to bargain with it. And it honestly just brings out my inner quitter. And I talk on my socials. If anyone has, followed me there, you've probably seen that I talk about like these are the qualities of if you're quitting, here's tough truths to be a quitter. Because I used to be one. I used to be someone who I would very easily back down. And quitters aren't necessarily the people who it's obvious of like, they try something, they quit, they try something, they quit. That's what we often think about. But honestly, quitters a lot of the time are just people who are staying in their comfort zones. They're people who they say they want to go bigger, but then they never end up following through all the way. It's people who doubt themselves, and I have all sorts of content on that, so absolutely go check that out. But one of the things that happens is when I go run, I want to negotiate with myself. I want to call it quits a little early. I can talk myself out of it pretty easily. And what I put on my stories was that because I was in this grumpy mood, it meant I had to go run because I was saying that I refuse to stay in a mood and I refuse to let emotions decide my actions and I don't need this motivation. What I said that I needed on my stories was controlled discomfort. And I got some responses around that. And it was showing me of like, okay, I guess I should do a podcast episode on this. And controlled discomfort really hit people. And what this actually means is that I am actively putting myself in positions to be uncomfortable, especially when I'm in a mood or a rut like that, so that I can actually get myself out of it. And I'll go into actually explaining what controlled discomfort kind of means in a minute. But the thing that I kind of want to talk about with this before to kind of set the stage is the fact that the reason so many people are quitters, the reason that so many people don't get to their next level is because they avoid discomfort like it's the plague. They really avoid discomfort. People avoid uncomfortable emotions. So often we will, for example, avoid hard conversations because the emotions will bring up. We scroll on social media for hours to avoid having to be bored. We do all sorts of wacky things to avoid very low levels of discomfort. That is the thing. Most people would rather get the dopamine hits of numbing out, of scrolling, of doing what's easy and getting instant gratification than ever having to experience discomfort. And I remember a therapist a really long time ago told me that I'm not good at being bored. And so what I did for a little bit there was I would even just sit in boredom for 5 minutes a day. It's really not a lot. And I've just told a client recently to go do this where I told her, I was like, I want you to go be bored for 5 minutes a day. Just go sit. Do not scroll. Do not meditate. Don't do anything. Don't numb out. Just sit there and be bored. Like, just let yourself be bored. it's just crazy that if we can't even really take the discomfort of an unfortunate emotion or having to do things that we don't like, it's no surprise that we can't really handle the more uncomfortable things either. And when I say the more uncomfortable things, what I'm really talking about is putting ourselves out there. I'm talking about being an entrepreneur and the ups and downs of that. I'm talking about going for the next level and the bigger and better things that you're wanting. If we struggle with the small things, we're absolutely going to struggle with the big things. And I want to be really honest with you guys. Your tolerance for discomfort absolutely determines how far you can go. Absolutely. Because to get to every next level, what's going to have to happen is your identity and your nervous system need to reach a new capacity. They need to be stretched. You need to leave your comfort zone. And if every single time we face something even a little uncomfortable, we avoid it, we don't really have the tolerance to be outside of our comfort zones. And I know I don't have a video, but imagine that I'm making a circle with my hands. If that's your current comfort zone, what happens to people is that when we are forced to go outside of it or when we want to grow, that circle expands. But if we don't have the capacity and the tolerance to handle discomfort, we can't hold that new level and it just snaps back to that smaller circle, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. I know it's not visual. But we need to be able to have really high discomfort tolerances in order to grow. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about on the workshop called the 180 Up Level workshop, that 999 workshop, literally less than $10, are the two biggest barriers to transformation. And one of those barriers that I'm going to be talking about is the idea that no matter how much someone wants to change, it does not matter how much effort you're putting in, how hard you really push, all of that, none of that matters. You are going to stay stuck if you don't know how to move forward when your emotions inevitably challenge you. And they're very likely going to challenge you each and every single time you try to leave your comfort zone, every time that you have to face some discomfort. And what I'll say is that some people have a higher propensity for discomfort naturally through being conditioned, through sports. I don't know. People just have different propensities for discomfort. But the thing is that if you are struggling to get to your next level, and I really want you to listen to this, if you are struggling to get to your next level, whether it's the next level of being seen and having visibility on social media, whether it is the next income level of your business, whether it is the next promotion in your career or a career change, whether it is you need to put yourself out there in a different way in dating, whether you are trying to post way more content, you're trying to start a new business, write a book. There's so many ways that I know the people in my world really want to grow. If you're struggling to get to that next level, then you're going to need to really be focusing and understand how to increase your discomfort tolerance. And something that I've seen is that if you're not actively training yourself in controlled discomfort, what happens is that when life throws the uncontrolled discomfort kind at you and you try to leave your comfort zone, you fold, you freeze, you lose trust in yourself because you tried to step out there. You tried to put yourself out there. You tried to take up space. You tried to, I don't know, just really advocate for yourself and get to that next level. But if you do that and you didn't have the tolerance to hold that next level and you back down, you lose trust in yourself. You start believing and developing these narratives of like, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't have what it takes. And that's the thing. That is why people get stuck. That's one of the many reasons. But not me, not people in my world. We get stronger, we get sharper because we're building the tolerance to be able to handle that discomfort. And I think so often people really miss the narrative when they only talk about nervous system regulation, because nervous system regulation is great. It's part of the tool. But do you know how to actually expand your nervous system? Most people don't. And that's a really big topic that I cover in my course Relentless and we cover in Audacious, is really how do I not only feel safe where I am and maintain that safety, which is the nervous system regulation, but how do I actually expand my nervous system so I have the capacity to take on more, so I can increase my discomfort tolerance. And so let's actually talk about what controlled discomfort is. I'm only really going to be focusing on my one example that I gave, but controlled discomfort is almost you intentionally stressing yourself out. It is strengthening your capacity in a way that's just uncomfortable enough to really expand you, but not so much that you want to avoid it. And that's the thing, guys. So many people, so many people have developed patterns of avoidance where we avoid discomfort, we avoid doing the hard things, we avoid the uncomfortable emotions. And this the reason this happens is because you have a lower than ideal discomfort tolerance. And you can change your discomfort tolerance really quickly. I don't want anyone to think you're just like stuck. That's not it at all. You can absolutely do this. But when you're avoiding things, it's because your emotions are stronger than your discomfort tolerance. And I've had this conversation many times, and sometimes people will say, but I have big emotions, Mackenzie. Yeah, me too. Me too. Right? You're not special in that way. So many people have really big emotions, myself absolutely being one of them. But it's just about this doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. Like I feel my emotions so deeply. I feel other people's emotions so deeply. But it's still at the end of the day, the idea that you can be stronger than your emotions. When you're in these avoidance patterns, you are acting as an older identity. You are acting as a version of yourself who is committed to your comfort zone. You are acting like a version of yourself who does not believe in yourself. Straight up. If you're avoiding the text messages that you got, if you're avoiding your work, if you're avoiding doing the thing you know you need to do, if you're avoiding putting yourself out there, if you're avoiding posting, if you're avoiding all these things, the taxes, all the things, like it literally comes down to you acting in a smaller identity than who you want to be. And so long as you commit to your current or old identities, you can't create new ones and you're going to struggle, absolutely, to get to the next level. And here's the thing, you guys, if we're struggling to handle controlled discomfort, which all of those things that I just said are, you responding to text, you doing taxes, you opening your bank account and dealing with that, you posting online, like all of these things are actually really small. They're small, right? But if we're struggling to handle the controlled discomfort, like showing up when we don't feel like it and putting ourselves out there and doing the thing that feels like cringy or scary, you're really going to struggle to handle the bigger uncontrolled discomfort when it comes into your life. And that can be the uncontrolled discomfort can be something goes wrong, something doesn't go to plan. There's, life throws a curveball at you, but it can also be something more of like in business, for example. Something I'll see a lot is that people's incomes will go down or even stagnate and they freak out. They have no ability to hold that. And then they start making it mean things and they took what was just a normal dip and they make it really personal and they really struggle to recover. It will set them off for 6 to 18 months of earning. I'm so serious. And I think some of you listening, if you're entrepreneurs, probably can relate to that, right? It's because you didn't have the discomfort tolerance. And something that I talk about with my clients a lot is that I have changed my business model entirely. How I was running my business in 2023 is completely different to how I'm running it now. And that's taken a lot of risk. And I've had to be okay earning a little less to be able to make these changes long term. And I've changed how I do every little facet of my business. And I'm having the most fun time. I really enjoy it. I love it. I'm not freaking out about it. There's nothing gone wrong. And most people, what they do when they want to do things like this, when they want to go bigger, when they want to take risks in business, but all everywhere, they put their toe out and they go back. They put their toe out, they go back. They put their toe out, they come back. They can't hold that outside their comfort zone. And all they are doing that whole time is eroding their own trust. That's what they're doing. They're teaching themselves, I can't go bigger. It's not safe to go bigger. And then they're shocked when it's really hard to get to the next level. So that's one way that it shows up. Another way is rejection. Rejection is a part of uncontrolled discomfort. We put ourselves out there for either a job or in dating or new opportunities, and we don't know how it's going to go. And when we can't handle the emotions that come with rejection, we end up avoiding rejection altogether. And what does that mean? It means we don't put ourselves out there. We don't go after things that are outside our comfort zone, and we usually don't grow. I've done this. I was just talking to a client last night and Unlimited around this, how I never used to put myself in situations where I was going to be rejected, which meant there were a lot of opportunities that passed by. There were a lot of just life experiences that passed by. And it's just because I couldn't handle it. I was busy rejecting myself before anyone else could reject me. This happens a lot. Or it's like if you are doing any sort of creative endeavor, starting a business, if you're an artist, if you're an author, if you are wanting to start posting on social media, any of these things, like all these really beautiful things that people want, we end up becoming really afraid of it. And we don't have to be. There are ways to actually train yourself the same way you'd strengthen a muscle in the gym to be able to handle this stuff really easily. And that's one of the reasons people don't get further. And that's the stuff that we teach in Audacious. That's the stuff that we absolutely deep dive into. And you get coached on every single day by me inside of Unlimited, my year-long group program. So controlled discomfort is really safe discomfort. It doesn't mean it's comfortable. Like me running last night, I didn't want to be running. It was raining. It was 35 degrees out, and I never run outside. So for me, this is all very dramatic for me. I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it. It was uncomfortable, but I do it because I'm not going to die. I'm not going to, nothing's going wrong. My ears hurt because it's cold out and my lungs hurt because I'm not necessarily a runner, but it's controlled. It's fine. So it's you pushing yourself on purpose. And again, I want to be really clear. A lot of the instances of controlled discomfort, people can't handle. And actually, let me give you an even more clear example. Controlled discomfort would be putting yourself online, posting to social media that you say you want to post, right? There's so many women, and not women, just people who come to me and really want to post online. They really want to put themselves out there, but they're not doing it. And we have conversations for months and months and months and months and months of people talking around, what do I need to do? Or how do I start doing this? And it's like, just get in one of the offers and let's do it. It's easy. But it's like that, putting yourself out there is controlled discomfort. What's uncontrolled discomfort, for example, in this situation is blowing up and people have comments. And part of the reason that I've seen this so many times too, part of the reason that people don't post online is because they're afraid of what people might say if they do blow up. And it's like, let's just get you feeling safe with the controlled discomfort first before you're worried about the uncontrolled discomfort. Do you see what I mean? So uncontrolled discomfort is when, you might get that rejection. You might have that failure. You might have a curveball you never saw coming. You might have to take on more than you're expecting. But the truth is, if you build your capacity in controlled discomfort, you'll handle the uncontrollable kind way better because you've trained yourself to be okay with discomfort rather than constantly avoiding it. And when you know how to choose discomfort and face it and not see it as a problem, but be able to really regulate through it, be able to face it head on, no problem, be able to keep your word to yourself through it, that's when you're going to stop fearing it. And that is when you're going to start finding it far easier. And this, again, is one part of the equation to really leveling up on repeat. And what I'm going to be teaching in my new offer is how I've leveled up on repeat, how I've gone from someone who really struggled with her body to being someone who had a personal training, who's incredibly fit, who stays very lean all throughout the year. It's the same way that I've up-leveled in my relationships. I've gone from really unhealthy, dead-end relationships and staying there and just settling in them to having relationships where I can't but smile when I talk about him. And I know I don't always share about him, but like my boyfriend is my best friend. And we have so much fun, and everything we do is an adventure. And it's like that's been an up level. Same thing in business. To go from someone who's working in corporate and literally thought, I'm never going to be able to start a business, or it's going to take this 4-year career to build my resume and credibility, to having a really big business. I've been doing multiple six figures every year since 24 years old. I have multiple income streams. I'm very, very financially blessed. But part of that is because I know how to feel safe with money. And part of that too, this is a whole different conversation, of I also know how to feel safe when there's not money, right? That's that discomfort too. I've been able to level up in all sorts of ways. The apartments that I live in, just everything, leveling up. It's not just hard work. It's not just chance. It's not that some people are luckier. There is actually a very simple formula to getting to your next level. Every single up level I've had to make, and every single up level I've seen my clients make, whether it's going from thinking that they're not creative at all to writing multiple novels, whether it is going from feeling like they are never going to make money and living on rent assistance to making $30,000 a month, whether it is feeling like their dream is 10 years down the line and then they do it within 5 months with me. Any level of transformation, whether you're just starting out wanting to transform or whether you are just trying to really go even further than you've already gone, you work on the same things. And if you want to stop settling, self-sabotaging, hesitating, wavering back and forth on whether you can do this, and full send it towards what you want, absolutely recommend spending the $9.99 while it's available at this price to join my workshop. It is Thursday, February 27th at 12 p.m. EST. There's a replay, so don't worry about that. To figure out how to up level, because I've got it down. And I feel very fortunate to do so because it means I never stay stuck. I never really stagnate. I always end up creating what I want. And that's such a blessing, but it's just a set of skills. It's just a formula. It's just a lesson that I want to make it so easy. I want to make it so easy for you guys to have, because I really made this truly because I get really tired of seeing, and I get sad, and I want to help everyone, because it's really frustrating for you guys. And it's frustrating even for me to see it, that people work so hard to get these results and they feel like they never see it come. It never quite comes in as big as they want, or they feel like they have to trade off. Like, I can have this or I can have this, but they feel like they can't have it all. And I want people to be able to live a life where they are so confident in themselves and feel so proud of the life that they're living and so in love with it. And this workshop absolutely is going to get you there. It's going to make such a difference in your life. So if you've not yet hopped in, I will put the workshop in the show notes. But come talk to me about this. If you have questions around discomfort tolerance or anything like that, just, you can find me on Instagram. You know that. Would love for you guys to take a screenshot. If you listen, share it on your stories. And I will also post the link for Audacious, my monthly membership, and Unlimited, my year-long group program. Because if you guys are truly wanting to just become the most confident version of yourselves, go on Audacious. If you are wanting to become the most confident version of yourselves and learn exactly all of the skills needed to have unrealistic success, or your 5-year plans happen in 5 months kind of vibe, that's Unlimited. So I'll leave all of that there. But thank you guys for listening, and I will absolutely be catching you on the next episode.